expectations for the Pelicans signing Stan Van Gundy. Stan Van Gundy got signed by them. I think this is like old news. Like, when did it happen? A week or two ago?
Like 4 days ago, bro.
No, it didn't. Did it happen 4 days ago?
It didn't happen a week ago.
It was in between 4 days.
Because we could have talked about it on a show and we didn't.
Yeah, I think it was like a day before. I don't think it was a week ago. I think it was like a day or two before.
I think it was after the last show with the three of us, but before the show with the two of us. But we did all football on the show. There was just the two of us.
All right, so expectations for Pelicans after signing Stan Van Gundy. The major question, simple. How is he going to handle Zion and if they're going to make the playoffs? That's what everybody's wondering right now.
I think expectations was going to be the same whether it didn't matter what coach they had. I think expectations are still playoffs. I think they were trending the right way with Zion. They were, I think, 11-9 when he played. So you re-sign Brandon Ingram. That should be the first step, re-signing Brandon Ingram, getting a few guys in, re-sign Alonzo Ball, and then you run it back. You run it back with the same squad. I think the squad was pretty good. You had Derek Favors to anchor down defense. You had Zion. He was coming into his own. Lonzo, you saw the defense. He was playmaking. Him and Zion have great chemistry. Brandon Ingram was coming into that number one scoring star. Drew Holiday was still, he was still kind of trending, but you seen his role was still very key. I think you run the right way. You run the same team. You let Stan Van Gundy's first year be a lesson year, and then you just run it back and try to make the playoffs.
Yeah, and I don't know if they're going to be a playoff team in his first year. The reason I say that is because a guy who we actually just talked about in the last segment, I've linked to the Nets. I think he will be a perfect fit for my Nets. Drew Holiday, his name has been floated around in so many trade discussions.
Everywhere.
Are they going to give him up? I have no idea. I don't think there's been any solid reports about him going anywhere.
I don't think he stays, though.
If they do end up trading him, which I think would be a wise move for them, because I don't think they're at that win-now mode just yet, and they could trade Drew Holiday for some solid assets, add to this young core, and even if they don't end up developing every single asset, it would give them a laundry list of guys to go and make a push for a superstar like the Mavericks and Hawks are doing right now. They would just have so many assets. But if they keep Drew Holiday, I think there's no reason they shouldn't be a playoff team this year.
I agree.
They bring back Brandon Ingram. They get Zion hopefully at full strength all season. You saw what they did at the end of the season last year. They looked like a totally different team with him on the court. And if you can get similar production out of Zion Williamson, there's no reason they shouldn't be a playoff team in the West. Not only a playoff team in the West, but a team to watch out for an upset come playoff time.
I don't know about that one.
Yeah, I don't know. That's tough.
I had to stop. I don't know about that one, but I think they'll definitely be shooting for the 8th, 7th seed.
The reason why, I would love to pick the Pelicans to make the playoffs, but the reason why I'm not completely sold is because the West is so stacked. You have Golden State coming back. Portland's probably going to be healthy. Phoenix is an up-and-coming team. What team is going to drop?
Well, James Harden might get traded, so we might see the end of Houston.
It's very true.
But if he's not traded, they're still going to be there.
Absolutely.
I think it all just depends on Zion, if he's going to play or not, if he's going to play at that superstar level that people thought he's going to, which we think he's going to be. We think he's going to transcend. He's going to become into that player. But just in terms of Stan Van Gundy and what they're getting, I mean, the only losing seasons he had in his career was when he was with Detroit. And he made the playoffs with them 1 year. But Detroit's always been kind of dysfunctional. Their roster was never built the correct way. And he made the playoffs with Detroit. And I feel like right now with the Pelicans, you have something to work with. Like there are players there, foundational players. Lonzo, Zion, Josh Hart is there. You have Brandon Ingram, Derek Favors, like you said. I like Nicola Melli, whatever his name is.
I like him too.
I know his last name is Melli. I'm not sure about his first name. Drew Holiday, like you mentioned. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, I feel like he can turn into a great player too. The reason I just can't pick him to make the playoffs is because the West is so stacked. It's just so stacked.
They're going to fight.
Unless Zion turns into year 2, what Luka turned into year 2, then I really don't see them making a jump into the playoffs.
That's the big question mark, is what is Zion going to be in his second year? Is he going to – I personally think that if he can play the way he did over the last – what did he play, 2 weeks of the season before going into the bubble?
Might have been more.
I honestly
20
think that
games?
they can be a 7th or 8th, maybe even a 6th seed if he plays at that level all year. But that's a huge question mark considering it's essentially his rookie year. He barely played last year. He's going to go through those growing pains that every rookie goes through. And I just have my doubts on what he's going to be in year 2.
The question's obviously going to be on Zion, but I feel like questions should be asked on the supporting cast. How is Brandon Ingram going to improve his game more? How is Lonzo Ball also going to improve his game more? Jackson Hayes, how are the guys, not just Zion, but the other young guys, how are they going to come into, okay, this is year 2, Zion's healthy. We know what we are. We know what we do. We got a new coach. What are we going to do? So I'm pretty interested to see. You got them, like you said, the Suns, the Kings are still around. They're still a young team. You got the
They're
Warriors.
coached by Luke Walton.
Yeah, he is terrible.
So I kind of discount them.
The Warriors coming back. We got a lot of teams in the West, so it's going to be interesting to see who's who.
They have the 13th pick in the draft as well.
What do you think they'll pick?
I think Aaron
missing?
Nesmith falls to them.
At 13?
Yeah.
That would be a great value for them at 13. And it's just another case of building assets.
And I think if they get him, they're going to trade Drew Holiday faster than.
Yeah,
they get
most
him.
likely.
And
He can shoot. He can shoot.
I know
Is he a
when
lefty,
he was
right?
No, he's ready.
Righty?
when
looks
he
like a
was
lefty.
mentioned with the Nets, I was hearing that there was going to be packages of Spencer Dinwiddie or Karis LeVert and Jared Allen and a pick. That's a huge haul.
Hot damn.
And to compare that to other, if you're going to get that deal from or a similar deal from multiple teams, that's going to be a great deal to bring in probably 3 assets that you could use down the road.
I keep hearing Paul George to Brooklyn.
Paul George? For who?
I heard that. I
keep
too.
hearing that. I don't know, but it keeps swirling. Paul George to Brooklyn.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, I think that's a.
I don't know.
No, I don't even think that's a bad fit. I just think that the Clippers would not do it. There's nobody on the Nets that they would take
Spencer
for Paul
Dinwiddie,
George.
And Karis LeVert?
Dinwiddie and LeVert for Paul George. I wouldn't do
LeVert,
it.
And
Jared
Jared
Allen
Allen?
and a pick.
I wouldn't do it for Paul George.
I wouldn't do
I mean,
it
if
as a
you
Net
realize,
fan.
as the Clippers, if you realize this is not going to work and Kawhi's going to leave, then I think you pull the
I think
trigger
that would be
faster
great
than
for
normal.
I think it would be great for the Clippers. I think they need a change.
What's weird about the Clippers is that Kawhi, if he leaves, it just makes no sense because he wanted to be in LA in the first place.
Well, his contract is up next year.
No, yeah, it is. And I think if they're not trending towards winning, he probably does. But
That'd
it's
be
weird. Where is he going to go?
They got a lot to figure out
He
this
can go-
offseason.
Go to the Knicks.
I'm sure Montrez
Stop.
is gone. They're
Stop.
gonna have to find a playmaking guard. I know they were.
They've actually been talking
they
to
were
get
linked
Rondo. Yeah.
which would be a big mistake if the Lakers let him go. But if they did, that would be a great signing for the Clippers. But they need to find a playmaking guard. They need to find a big. I know everybody hates the big position in the NBA these days. I don't know why everybody's trending away from a big, but you need a solid big man on your team because it's not like the big men have gone away in the NBA. It's just that some teams don't use them. But you look at guys like Anthony Davis, Nikola Jokic, Joel Embiid, they still exist, and you're still going to have to guard them if you want to work your way to a championship. Carl Towns, I don't know if you'll have to get through him to go to a championship, but
Well, I'm just saying, big in the West,
like they're still there, and I think that was a big weakness of the Clippers last year, and it killed them in the Nuggets series because every possession they had to throw a double at Jokic,
because Harrell always sucks.
and he would throw the swing pass, and they shot the lights out of the ball, and that is what beat them is because they didn't have a defensive scheme except for double Jokic. So I feel like they have a lot of changes they're going to have to make to their roster. I don't think that trading Paul George would be the worst idea considering the way things ended this past season. And I'm not even trying to hate on Paul George. It's just I don't know how much things are going to work out there.
I think his trade value is extremely low right now.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't be the
selling
best time
for
to trade him.
pennies on the dollar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, considering what OKC got for him after an MVP-like season, they got a lot from LA.